Welcome back to the Blue Collar Trade Show, where real people share real stories about building, fixing, leading, and living with purpose. I'm Troy, and I'm here with the crew, Chad, Jim, Marissa. Each week we dig into lessons, have laughs, and hard-won wisdom from the folks who keep America running. Let's get into it. Today we're taking questions that came in from the audience, so let's get started. Marissa, over to you.
Hi,
Hey,
Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
hello, Jim.
Hey.
Hi,
How's the dating scene? Did you get any dates from your
I was
message
booked all
barrage?
weekend.
Maybe you get a bunch of DMs from people that want to date you.
I see nobody came over to fix your blinds. Must not have gone that
Oh,
Yeah.
those are they're electricians.
You haven't got my tape measure yet, I see.
Guys, but 3 guys showed up with wet saws.
And Pat sent it snail mail for the
Her bathroom tile looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, all the carpet's gone.
Oops.
All right, very good. Okay, Marissa, so did we get a lot of questions? We must have got a lot of questions. I know you
We
said we were
did.
busy.
We're popular.
All
They
right,
love
where are we
us.
going to start?
Okay, Marissa, question number 1. You guys ready?
Yeah,
In
we're
your
getting more
in your opinion, what is the number 1 blue collar myth out there today?
Oh, man. Can I go?
Yes.
You go,
Yeah. So I'm so glad somebody asked that question. So I think that the myth that blue collar work is just a landscape of hellish torture all day long, and you're gonna age faster, and your knees are gonna hurt, or your back's gonna hurt by the time you're 25, and that all the jobs just suck. I think that's the biggest myth and the biggest crock, because it's just not true. It's just not true at all. You can have those types of days, but it has its moments. But if you have the right team, if you have the right processes, if you've been trained how to do things properly, and you have a good mentor, those things are very minimal. They're not an everyday thing where you're really breaking your back every day. So, shout out to the blue collar trades for not being what we're being painted to be today. For sure.
Do you think so? I would concur that that's true, Chad, that it's not as bad as people think it is. Why do you think it is? Why do you think people think that?
I'll tell you why. Because the ones of us that did it and were proud to do it and do it right, we just kind of kept our noses down and plowed through it and did our work, and it was very satisfactory. The ones that went out there and didn't do it correctly, or they weren't with the right team, well, they have a bunch of things to complain about. And what do you hear about more than anything? People complaining loud and proud. Don't do this, don't do that. I sweat one time in this attic and it was horrible. Come on, man. Come on. Really? So I think all that chatter's coming from the complainers and the weenies out there.
Yeah. Well, there's to kind of go on top of it. I think to answer the question, there's always been a stigma, right? It has up until 100 years ago, everybody was in the blue collar space, just about, right? And then there was a big shift in the early part of the 20th century when people got more into business and finance and business, all that kind of stuff. And it was people were out of the farms and out of the factories and more into different things. And for a long time, even in my lifetime, when we went to school, like you said earlier on the last episode, Chad, I think when you graduated high school, they said go to college, go to the military, go to trade school. And for a long time here, for the last 20 years, they stopped talking about trade school, right?
Right.
And so there's been a stigma that if you can't get into college or you're too dumb, then you should go into the trades, right? And what they don't know, the dirty little secret out there, is that about 65% of all businesses in America are blue collar, right? About 70% of all jobs in America are blue collar in some way, shape, or form. And the amount of money, I don't know if I've ever seen it so much since we started this recruiting firm, but business owners that have businesses that are worth millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, is almost mind popping. And these people who are doing the work making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think parents in America are blind to the idea that their kid has to work in an office, when there's most of the jobs in the blue collar space. There's a lot of technical jobs, but they lead into really good white collar jobs as well. I think, to me, that's a big myth, right? So Chad, you started as a pure blue collar guy, but today you don't do much blue collar work. You're running the shops and running the business, right?
Well, I like to sneak out there, still do.
I know you
just
do.
to
You still
prove
got
to
that wet
myself.
saw you got to pull out of your pocket every couple days, but for the most part, you're just running the show, right? So
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, to all those people that are they're just getting out of high school, or maybe they've been out of high school for years, that I want to be in the air conditioning. I don't want to be outside. I want to be in the air conditioning. I've done both, and I'm telling you what, being outside is way more satisfying than being stuck inside the air conditioning all day. It's way more satisfying. You see a lot of cool stuff. You meet a lot of great people and have all these wonderful experiences. And I'll tell you one thing that we started talking about, Marissa started talking about last time. By being in the blue collars, there's nothing that breaks in my house that I can't fix. We're not calling anybody over to fix anything at Chad's house. Yeah.
you get Marissa all revved up.
Yeah. So, and so I've saved how many millions and millions of dollars doing my own repairs? Come on. Can't beat it.
Millions
I
and
think one of the
millions? How
other
much
things-
stuff do you break at your house? Millions and millions?
Sometimes I break stuff on purpose, like
His wife has projects too, sure.
drop something heavy on the tile here recently. Like, oops, I guess I got to go fix that.
Yeah, on purpose. Accidentally on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim, what do you think? What's
Well,
the myth?
I thought that you kind of touched on it, but I think one of the biggest myths is that you have to have a college degree in order to make real money.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that people understand how much people in the blue collar trades make. And I think it'd be, like you said, Troy, it'd be very eye opening for some of these people to know how much is being made in the blue collar trades. So,
Yeah. Marissa, what do you think? You come from a different angle.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is just the myths about them like working long days or, always being gone. And it's just like how exhausting it can be. But they have good PTO. Like I see it on the other end, and like their time off or their schedule, it's, they're in demand. So essentially they can negotiate a lot, and their offers, like, not even just as far as compensation, but just like their days off, the schedules, and their benefits. They have really, really good benefits. I saw one the other day. It's like, ooh, sign me up too. It's exciting. It's a lot. I don't know.
They're in much higher demand now, Marissa, than they were when I was growing up. It was like a big deal to get accepted onto a blue collar trade, like the AC job I got. I remember us going to celebrating at the Ponderosa that night. Actually, anybody's ever been to one of those?
Oh man,
Ponderosa.
you go all in. Gold
Man,
Corral,
yeah.
Ponderosa.
No
Hell
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sizzler Steakhouse.
Yeah, because the job was a high demand, but it was also everybody was already doing them, so it was really hard to get in. So for everybody now that's getting out of high school, the openings, they're there. They're always going to be there until that shift in the market.
Well, they say every day 3 people retire from the trades, and there are only 2 coming in, right? So there's a shortfall on a daily basis. And the really interesting thing is that not only do these people have the opportunity to do these kinds of things. You had said the other day, Chad, that when we were talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about, but you had said that how much just the independence that you get to have, especially in the home services space, right?
Yep.
Being out in your truck and meeting new people, and it's not sitting in the office. And if you watch, when's the last time you watched the news and you saw Meta or Google or some of these big giant firms that people want to work for, and they laid off 20,000 people? Like, it's just a number,
Right.
20,000 people, right? 50,000 people. When's the last time you saw on TV that 50,000 plumbers just got laid off somewhere?
Right.
Never.
It's never going to happen.
No. Yep.
So,
And AI is not going to replace it either.
AI is not going to, robot's not going to fix your water heater anytime soon. I
No.
guarantee it.
No. I mean, maybe that's something my grandchildren's got to put up with. But right now, you got to get old Chad out there, real deal. You ain't getting no robot out there, man.
All right.
Definitely
Very
the
good. Good question. All right. Let's mix it up.
Who's ready for
What you got,
question
Marissa?
number 2?
Ooh,
Question number 2. Is college a scam?
Is college a
College
scam?
scam.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah. Is college a scam? No.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it depends on, if somebody wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, somebody wants to be an accountant, chances are they're going to have to go to college for that. So I think there's things that college fulfill a need for. However, what I don't think is right is people being told they need to go to college and go to college. You have to have a degree. Just get a degree. It doesn't matter what it is. So somebody graduates from college with a women's studies degree with a minor in English, where the next thing they know they're working at TGI Fridays. I think that people should be made more aware of what type of jobs are available without going to college, instead of just being told that you have to go to college.
I hope somebody
Yeah.
still keeps working at TGI Fridays though, because I need that.
Well,
Yep.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
The very first chain restaurant. Do you know that?
That's a fact. That's a
Mhm.
fact.
You did?
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I think
Or
that
they actually, the first one would let women come into the bar without on their own. Do you know that, Marissa? That's a big deal in the 50s,
No.
60s, man. Yeah.
I
Downtown
couldn't go by
in New
myself. I
York.
couldn't walk.
You couldn't have done it before then. Yep.
those are
Why not?
disappearing.
That's why I
around
brought it
here.
up. I was there, Marissa.
Yeah.
You were there.
He was the one trying to get his card in the door.
How could you?
I got something, but Chad, you were going to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the like what Jim was saying, the proposition as it is understood of college is a scam, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why that I continue to believe this. Just a recent example. I met with a principal of a high school just recently, local high school, to talk to me about trade school for the kids and everything else. And he told me that he's been principal for 30 years or something like that. And he said that it's consistent. The number's been consistent. Even though the culture has changed, the number's been consistent. About 30% of the kids in their senior class are college material. The other 70 are not. But half of that other 70% end up going to college anyway. Isn't that something? So
What do you mean by college
35%
material? What does that mean? What college material?
that
What do you think?
they're academically they're interested in academics. They're actually interested in taking in and in the knowledge that the
Going to class
academics
and all
gives
that.
them and applying themselves to science or engineering and doctors, lawyers. A lot of times if you want to be a police officer nowadays or be in public service, you have to go to college for something. He says that 30% of those people are that material, but 35% end up going to college even though they have no desire to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're forced into it. And I think
Yeah.
that's
I think it's parents. I think to me, it's almost like, in a sense, it's almost like it's somebody on the other, when back in the day when people would say going into trades is for dummies, right? It's kind of a I know you are, but what am I, right? Type of thing where it's a scam, so there's a little bit of that. There is I think there's a tremendous amount of value, and I'm not saying it just because I went to school, but there is some value for people to grow up. I think go to school, live on your own, figure things out. There is a maturity that comes with that. We're not that different than the military, Jim, right? You get to go, you're not under your parents' roof anymore. You have to figure things out on your own. And to get a college degree is really almost, for most people, to finish it is to prove you can start something and finish it. even if you come out of it working at TGI Fridays, at least you started something and you finished it, right? That
Right.
proves
It's fair.
something to people about your character.
That's
So
fair.
I have no problem. I think college is an awesome opportunity for a lot of people, but it's not the only thing. I think it's just one of the things, right? It's one of the options. And I think what I think schools and high schools and parents need to do is look at all the options in fairness, right? Look at a trade school, what the opportunities look like for my particular child, right? And let them decide. I think there's too many parents too that want to have a redo life with their children and say, well, here's where I screwed up. So you go do that, right? You should be an engineer because I wanted to be one and I didn't do it, right? So I think there is some of that, but I think it is coming back together. I think there's more exposure to the blue collar space these days. I think it's kind of like the military, right? There was a long time during the Vietnam era, Jim, way before, after you retired, when the Vietnam War started. Just kidding. That there was not a lot of love for the military,
No, there
right?
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
And it was
come
frowned
full
upon.
circle. It's almost too much now. I'm just kidding, but no, but there is, things can change, and I think people's feelings about all this kind of stuff is going to change
Right.
because of the need of it, and people see the opportunities. I think it is a good option. I don't think it's a scam, but I think it's not for everybody, like you said.
Well, I think that I saw a report that this is the first year in many,
It's
many
too
years.
expensive. Let me finish that. Sorry.
Right. But this is the first year where like 48% of the graduates from high school last year did not go to college. And it's the first time in years that many didn't go to college because they're starting to see that there's other avenues. There's trade
Yeah.
schools, there's military, other ways to make money and to kind of build your future than
Yeah.
relying on college.
I feel
Well,
like we
so-
should all know this by now. I don't know why it's still, I'm glad that this year, I think it should have been like that for years now. You
Right.
could have taken all
Yeah.
3 of my boys and gave them a free college, and they would have said no, for free. And they would have kicked it out the window because they didn't want to
Yeah.
be there in the first place in the school they barely got out of.
That's it, right? I think the scam of it, maybe there's a different twist. The scam of it is how much they charge for it, right? There is a lot of layered bureaucracy in state and private schools. There's a lot of money that, if you're walking out of something that doesn't cost any less than $100,000, it's nuts, right? For most people. And that's just
It really is. It's
that's
ridiculous.
that's a state school, right? So, and there's nothing
You
wrong with
could
state
also
schools.
blame-
I'm just saying it only goes up from there.
You can also blame some of it on employers too. Some employers are requiring a 2 or 4 year degree for a job that just doesn't match what the degree they're requiring is.
It's because they don't know how
So,
to hire for character. They
Right.
look at a piece of paper, right?
And I feel like we should have already learned that lesson as a society as well.
Yeah. I've been saying for a long time that a piece of paper called a resume is about almost the most worthless document there is today. We
Yeah.
can talk
It
about
is.
it next, maybe in a different episode, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, Marissa, what are your thoughts on college? I know you loved it and you were really good at it.
But she wouldn't date anybody that graduated from college.
Yeah, actually. So yeah, I definitely do think it is like way overpriced. And some of it is confusing. I feel like it is not for everyone. And then also just like in Indiana personally, where I live, if you graduate from Indiana high school, you don't even meet the minimum qualifications to get into Indiana State College. So that doesn't make sense to me. But I think that there is, everyone's becoming more aware that a lot are going want to go to the trade. So now they restructured everything. So in high school, your freshman year, you're deciding, are you going to want to go to college? Or are you going to want to go to the trades? Do you want to go to the military? And I think there's one other track you could do. And so it's going based off that. So I think that is great and a good way to start pushing them and preparing them at like a younger age, like their freshman year, and they're not taking classes that they don't want to be in to have like your sons and like sit in, because they already know they want to go into the trades. So yeah, I think it just depends on the person. Kind of a scam, not a cool scam, but I get it. It's not for everyone.
So your
Yeah.
kids wouldn't have taken a free college degree, Chad. So what would they have taken for free? Would they have gone to trade school?
Yeah, for absolutely trade school. You know, one of my sons is already working with me. I still have one that's finishing high school up.
Yeah.
And the other one just way smarter than me, so he doesn't. He's on his own path. You know, of course. I'm going
Hey,
home to
that's
work
okay.
on his
That's
car
their
tonight.
life. You can't forget that, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's a good topic.
I feel like
It
Marissa,
is.
while she was in college, she was looking past all the guys that were in her classes at the people coming in to fix the college or
Right.
airmen or like the
Looking for-
janitor
Stepping
would
on it.
walk by and she'd be like, "Hey,
Janitor walks by. Yeah. Yeah.
Looking for a guy with a tape measure on his belt.
Right.
Never saw
It
one.
was like
I
had a
think
side
Marissa's
list
the
in my
bar with
notebook.
Marissa goes to the bar with her friends. Some guy comes up and Marissa goes, "You have a tape measure?" You know?
When it's raining out, I leave work early and I go there on Friday afternoons when they have a rain out and go hang out where they go. See,
So let me give you some pointers, Marissa. So all of us blue collar guys, okay, we all carry a pocket knife, right? Used to be back in Troy's day, you wore that Leatherman outside of your belt, right? Now we all wear a pocket knife. So you see somebody's got a pocket knife, kind of like the clip hanging out of their jeans, then you know that's a blue collar guy. That's a good way to spot them.
What
Is
about
it
the guy
weird
that has his next? What if they have their Sprint phone on their belt? Is that still cool?
Stay away from that guy.
That's
Yeah,
not cool anymore.
Yeah,
All right.
slowly take
about
yours
key
off your
caddy?
belt.
How about a key caddy?
What's a key caddy?
The long chain. Zzz. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
janitor.
yeah, I don't think it like that.
No,
That's not cute.
yeah. All right. What's the question we were going to ask next time? I said that'd be a good. Resumes. All right. So what's the next
Resumes.
question?
Question number 3. Why does it feel that nobody wants to work anymore?
Whoa.
I'm gonna pass this to Chad.
It starts in the home. It starts in the home. If it's unfortunately it's part of the culture now to be inside looking at a screen all day, right? And also when you're growing up, you're not allowed out of the house, right? You're not allowed out of the house until like you're unsupervised until like you're 11, 12 years old. When I was growing up at 5 years old, I wasn't allowed in the house, you know, during the day. I got kicked out in the morning with a sack lunch, right?
Don't come
Go
back
play.
till dinner. Yeah.
Till the street lights come on, right?
Yeah.
And it just kind of, what are you going to do? Well, everybody that's my age or around my age has built forts, right? Played outside. We sweat. We ran. We had bicycles and all that.
Trap
And I think
gophers.
it was easier to transition into a hardworking job or, a trade job because of that background, where now they're growing up in the house without all that, and then it's a shock to them to sweat, I believe. And it's not everybody. It's not everybody. I have all kinds of generations come in and out this place, right? But the younger guys, the millennials or whatever the other generation that can't keep up nowadays, but those guys all have in common is they like to fish, they played sports, they were on baseball teams in high school and stuff like that. So unfortunately, it's a cultural challenge of all this screen time that the kids are getting. I hate to sound like a boomer, like Jim, but that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what I'm convinced it is anyhow.
I already know what Jim's answer is going to be. It all went downhill after we got electricity.
Electricity, yes.
When they switch from sail to steam,
Yeah,
everything
right.
went to crap. That was the end of
Oh man.
I don't think that it's I think you're right. I think there's there's all shapes and sizes. Every generation had them for sure. I think there's this cultural shift where we're all pretty soft. So Marissa doesn't like guys with soft hands. It's pretty hard to avoid those guys because everybody's kind of a little, a little bit of a wuss these days compared to our grandparents, probably. Like I said, so just like you, Chad, I got some people that are young and can't stop working, right? And I got some people that are young and can't go to work ever, right? For some reason, there's always been that. But I think you hear the live to work to live, and I think free time. They say with the younger generation, I don't know if it's true or not true, but that having all these things seems so far out of reach that it almost doesn't seem is important, right? When we grew up, it was, you got to have a house, you got to have cars, you got to do all these things, you got to have stuff, right? And it seems like it, in some cases with the younger generation, it's not those kinds of things, although they want them. I don't think it's as important to them as it maybe was for us. But I think it's part of it because they're young and they haven't had a taste of driving like Jim has a Hummer, right? I think.
Yeah, no.
Get one of those bad boys and tell me you don't like it. It's like driving a jet ski without a smile on your face.
That's I really, that has got to be it. That's what's creating weenies out there is and they're not even, it's not
Life
even
got
their
too
fault.
cushy. Too
Yeah,
cushy.
it just got too cushy. You got too comfortable. And then, all right, it's time to go to work. Okay. Well, I want to have this thing on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, where people pay me to do stupid things. And that's catching on, right?
Yeah.
I watch all those stupid things.
Hey, that's
You'd
what
be
we're trying to
wrong.
do here, Chad. Don't knock it.
Hey, yeah, well, Chad, come on.
That's the whole point of the show, Chad.
I learned a lot of things actually from them.
You what?
I learned so much from the influencers and people on TikTok with those videos.
It's pretty hard to avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
learned
Everywhere.
So much.
I learned 6 and 7 yesterday.
Freaks out. You know what that is, Chad?
Some of them break out.
Do you know what that
Some
is,
of them
Chad?
What's that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
You know what this
No, I
is?
don't know what's
6,
no, I don't
7.
know.
You know what? I have a theory behind this. So these things that nobody can explain why it's funny. So like 6, 7, I don't know, whatever, so it's a thing. I had no idea. I got picked on Monday on a team call. I had no idea what they were talking about, right? And I still have no idea what they're talking about, but I think I understand it now because it's like when we would walk around and drop Fletch one-liners, right? And people go, "Oh yeah, 110, 120," right? We'd all laugh and everybody like, "I don't get it." Well, it's
Right.
it's the same dumb thing. I think it's exactly
Everything
the
is ball
same.
bearings.
Yeah. It sounds funny to me because I know what you're talking about. I haven't,
Right.
but Marissa's like, even if she did know, she wouldn't think it's funny because it's stupid.
Yeah,
Right?
like 110, 120. It was a basketball player though. Someone asked him his height and he's like, I don't know, 6, 7, for his height. And then I don't know. I know it is in some songs too. So,
Yeah.
but my kid
Well,
love it.
Chad keeps thinking going to the club.
I still have no idea what we're talking about. But all I know is that every now and then I'll be doing something inside the house and my wife will ask me a question, right? And I'm like, why are you asking me that? Like the other day, she goes, hey, Chad, show me 3 on your fingers. And I'm like, how do you count the 3? And I was like, I went like that. And she's like, that's incredible. So she records me, puts me on whatever, right?
Well, that is
And then
because it's
I get to
weird.
watch a
Chad, you're
video
doing
of
it. You're
all these
doing it
other-
wrong. That's
You're
the whole
doing it
point.
wrong.
all these other husbands that it says every time you ask a guy to show the number 3, they do it like this and not like this.
Yeah.
And then I get
Right.
followed around asking dumb questions to be put on TikTok all the time.
So, Jim, you show us how you do 3. See, that's how you do it, Chad.
What's happened to your middle finger, son?
Nothing. What do you mean?
He's flipping off
What are you
Marissa.
talking about?
What
Jim's
do you mean?
his channel locks got out of control.
That's
So this is a true story. So I'll just say it because I know Jim's been anxious to say it and it'll come up eventually. But I don't know, 10, 11 years ago, Jim was making a workbench in his shop, right? Or a dresser or something for your office, right?
Yeah.
Running wood through a planer or a saw,
Table
right?
saw.
A table saw, cut off his finger, right? But he's such a badass. He's like, Deanna's wife, you can see her in the background there a little bit. She's like, oh, we should run to the emergency room. And he's like, no, give me a belt, bit down on it. And he took it and he glued it back onto his finger, wrapped it up like this, if you break your toe, and then went on and finished the dresser.
That's
Right?
exactly what I thought happened when I saw your finger just a moment ago.
It's no big deal, but it set crooked a little bit. So show us again.
It's just got a hitch in its giddy up.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not bad.
But he didn't even go to the doctor.
Really, I'll tell you what, it keeps you from picking your nose. But
I bet you can throw a hell of a curveball, buddy, with that finger like that.
I can break that off. Yeah.
He didn't cry or nothing.
Wow. That's so Jim.
So that story's mostly true, right, Jim?
That was pretty close to the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple stitches and some glue. Some Elmer's glue, wood shop glue.
A little more than that.
All right.
That's right.
What else you got? Marissa, why does nobody your age want to work? Why are they all so lazy?
We all want to work. Like work-life balance.
What's that?
Work-life balance.
What's the balance? What's the perfect balance?
You know.
They say there's, I think, Bill Gates or somebody, maybe Elon, somebody said that within the next 10 years, the whole world is going to go to a 3-day or maybe 4-day.
I think it's not 4 days. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, that's gonna be nice.
I think you should set the trend.
Me?
I should.
For me to start working less days?
So
4 days.
I have a question for Marissa then. I think that's a wonderful answer, the work-life balance, right? Because I think that's essential. But what I find that really means to the new generation is that we're going to do a work-life balance with life having more weight than work. In other words, work is an inconvenience to life, and that's the balance ends up being more about life than work. And when you say work-life balance, well, hell, there has to be a balance.
I think there is. Or I mean, if they want to win in work and win in life, like enjoy the kids, like leave like half hour early to go to a soccer game, but then also they want to be like at the top and work. Then like if they're happier in their home life, they work harder too because they come to work and like have a good attitude, good energy, and probably better to be around than someone who's all crabby. And you don't want to work or talk to them, Maybe hiding in the corner.
I think you're right. I don't think that, I keep saying it the same thing. I don't think anything's really changed. I don't think human nature has changed at all in 10,000 years, to be honest. I think there's just more people, right? So if you think about even like, are there more, parents are afraid to let their kids go outside because they're afraid their kids are going to get kidnapped by a serial killer. Well, I don't know. So are there more kids getting kidnapped? And maybe by numbers, but not as a percentage. Right?
Because there's so many more
There's
kids.
more people. There's twice as many people as there was when I was a kid. Right. So of course, right.
Well, the other thing,
I don't think anything has changed.
But the other thing with that, Troy, is you didn't hear about it as much.
Yeah.
Because you only had 3 news stations. That was it.
Right.
You didn't have this 24-hour news cycle where everything is on the news.
They never brought it up on Laverne and Shirley.
Never.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had in the 80s, right? It was like the serial killers were out in the 80s, right? The famous ones. So I remember
Ash Peters.
I remember like being 6, 7 years old, my mom saying, hey, I want you to watch this on TV. There was no pause or anything because there was nothing to pause, right? Just had to watch it. She goes, you see that? Watch out for that guy. Now get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Don't get into a white van, even if he has a lot of candy. Yeah.
Wait, Chad, did you do that on purpose when you were 6, 7 years old?
Do what on purpose?
I was 6,
Get
7
into a
years
white
old
van.
in my
Yeah.
mouth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you said
Cool.
6'7". Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, she caught it.
6'7".
We missed it.
I was like,
That's why I was wondering what she was laughing at.
because I'm like, is he doing this on purpose? Like he's like, but no, I guess he didn't do it. It's really that age.
I didn't do it on purpose, but that's funny. That's
It
how
is
old. That's
funny.
just how
Yeah.
old I happened to be when serial killing was really popular, I guess.
You could have said ball bearings, and we would have laughed, and
I
she
would
would
have laughed.
yeah, we would have
Yeah.
got it. All right, I think everybody wants to work a little,
Yeah.
as little
I
as
don't.
possible.
I still struggle with the word balance when we say work-life balance.
What would
That's
you do
where
if
I
you
think
didn't,
the
though?
hang up is.
Yeah. The people say, I want to retire. I don't know. I don't know how you cannot do anything. I couldn't golf all day, every day.
Right.
So I could golf a couple days a week, though. That'd be nice. All right. What's next, Marissa?
Okay. You guys ready? Number 4. Question 4. What are the biggest roadblocks with starting a new blue collar business?
Ooh.
Huh.
Well, there's one major one. Guess what it is?
Finding people,
Nope.
The
Well,
right people.
that's
Getting
one of them. That's the
finding
biggest.
customers.
It's just money, capital. Any businesses, you
Yeah.
got to have access to capital or have money, right? And I think that's where most people. So did you know this? So here's a stat. And I wouldn't say I made it up, but it's been pretty consistently true, right? So if you look it up, it'll be close. 9 out of 10 businesses go out of business in the first 5 years. Just true, right? And so why is that? And as a business person, I when I see like a Mexican restaurant open up and then 6 months later it closes, and I feel bad for them because I know what it takes, the amount of money they must have put in to rebrand, rebuild,
Yeah.
hire, do all this stuff. They had to have lost a fortune, right? And they probably hung on and had to pay rent for months and months after. And, but then the confusing part to me is then a month later, another person says, you know what? I've got another, I want to put another Mexican restaurant in that same exact spot.
Right. Yeah.
Because I have it, I can do it better. But I think there's a myth out there that starting a business is easy and it's not that expensive, and it's not either one of those at all, right? So you got to have. So Chad, I think you would know this better than any of us, but when a lot of, especially in the home services space, HVAC, plumbing, whatever ones that we're most familiar with or most intimately familiar with, a lot of those, I don't know what the number is, probably 80%, if I had to put a number on it, were started by a technician who said, I want to do this on my own, right? And then they go do it, and what they find out is, oh my gosh, this is really expensive, and now I don't work 8 hours a day, I work 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
right? And I got to pay taxes and I got to pay this. And now I know why Chad was charging $300 an hour, because it costs way more than me being out there, right? So there's just so much more to a business than what anybody knows. But money is it.
That's their business strategy is I'll just undercut everybody, right? And then it's a race to the bottom, unfortunately. But I'm tired of that guy. I wish that guy would go away because it just gets in the way of what I'm trying to do at a fair price, right? And it's like I always wait for that guy to go away, and I'm like, oh, good, he's out of business. That's over with. Well, here comes the next one, and he just keeps coming, and it's been like that for 30 years now. That guy that thinks that he just knows so much, and I've even had people leave here, right? Hey, I'm going to go start my own thing. Well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And then they lie and say, yeah, I thought about all that. And then they get out there and then they come back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've had that happen a lot. And because it just, you can't possibly imagine until you sit here and see all the bills and see everything that comes through, what all goes into it. But I'll tell you what separates the businesses and the ones that do really, really well is something that a lot of people that want to get into the trades really never think about. And that's the customer service end of what we do. Providing that perfect customer experience. That's what separates the great businesses from the guys that just want to fix air conditioners.
Well, it's there because then you have to do it all yourself, right? And there's only so much time in the day to answer phones and deal with customers and pay the bills and do all those things. And Marissa, to his point, so all these people that start something, and I give them credit for having the kahunas to try it, right? Because that's no small task, and most people wouldn't go that far. So the ones that do succeed, God bless them, right? The ones that don't, God bless them too, because they really put it out there and they gave it a shot, and you have to give them credit for that. But you see that a lot on the recruiting side, where these guys ran a business, didn't work out, and now they're trying to get back in and get a good job, because they're sick of working not 40 hours a week, or they're sick of working 80 to 100 hours a week.
Right.
They want a
Yeah.
job that pays, they can only work 40, 50, right? So.
Yeah. No, definitely. One of the general managers I just placed like last month, that is kind of what happened. He was a tech, then he had his own company for a few years, and he's like, I'm tired. Like, I want a break. I never get to relax. It is like always something. And then just thinking like marketing and this and that. So the GM position, he's like, I sold my business off and he got a good offer, and he's like, now he gets to still like be in the office, sometimes go in the field, but also without all of the headache and all of the extra.
Definitely. Jim, what do you think?
Well, I think the people don't understand, and it's kind of like what you guys were talking about. Somebody, they're working for somebody and they think, man, I'm smarter than he is. I can do it better than him. And they buy a magnet, slap it on their truck, and now they're in business. But they had no idea everything else that was involved in running a business. And, and then there's always it happens in every business when you get to that, that certain level, whether it be 250,000, 500,000, 1 million, they hit that plateau because the company has reached the level of the owner's competence, and they're not going to he won't get out of his own way. And so, and they don't know what to do. And so they just struggle at that level, because they don't know how to do anything better. So that's
What I would say that the number one roadblock, if we had to, listening to everything you just said, is time. I think what they don't understand about starting their own business is how much time it's going to take. And
sure.
something has to give, right? It's either going to give in the business or your personal life or something else, right? So,
Is that balance
all right.
not there?
Okay.
The work-life balance isn't there then? Because if you're always
No.
being your own 24/7, then your personal life and the other stuff, it just
It takes a toll. Something takes a toll, right?
It becomes all.
Guys, ready? Number 5. What's one moment in your life or your career when you realized you were truly blue collar at heart?
What's the one moment?
Oh,
What's the
man.
first time you felt that way, Chad? The day you were born
I'll
with
tell you.
with your wet saw?
No,
Was
no,
it
no,
last
no, no.
weekend when you bought a wet saw at Home Depot?
Yeah, it was on sale. I was waiting for it to go on sale. I was watching this thing like 6 months. No, much earlier than that. As a matter of fact, I remember exactly what it was. I think it was 1998, if you can believe it. And we had this prevailing wage job was coming our way. And all that really means is that the government is paying, so they have to pay you a certain wage that's usually double or triple of what you're usually making. So everybody really wanted to get on that job. I mean, it was going to be like, I think $25 an hour back then.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. So the boss told us, like, hey, everybody has a project that they're on right now. If you can finish your project first, you'll be the one to start this prevailing wage job. So me and my guys, we got together. We're like, we got to have to come in on Saturday to get this done. And then that'll beat everybody out. So everybody had something to do during the day. So we were actually going to meet at the job site in the evening, and we were working on this school. And so we were all supposed to get there around 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday. So I pull up, nobody's there. Right. And I just kept waiting and kind of started doing a little work here and there. Nobody showed up, and there was no cell phones back then for me to call anybody. Right. Imagine that, Marissa. No phone.
I would have made it.
Yes. And where you at? And so I just started working. And wouldn't you know it, around 3 o'clock in the morning, I finished the job all by myself. And, I'm steaming mad that nobody showed up to help me. On Monday morning, right? I looked at everybody like, where you at? They're like, yeah, we couldn't make it. That guy couldn't make it. I'm like, well, guess what? The job's done anyway. And they said, well, what happened? And I told them, I said, I went out there and finished it without you jokers, you know? And so instead of me going to the boss and saying, hey, look, I got all that done all by myself, I took one for the team and said, hey, we're up for the prevailing wage job. We get the project. So I was responsible for me and my team getting that prevailing wage project. And we all made like $25 an hour for almost a month, if you can believe it. Yeah.
What'd you spend it on? First day off.
1998. That's pretty good. That's like $30 now.
What was your question, Marissa?
What was the first thing you did that you spent it on? Like when you had your balance,
Bought a bunch
your
of
first day
scratch
off?
off tickets, if I'm being honest.
You bought scratch offs.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of scratch off tickets. I couldn't, the ones that I would never ever afford to buy, like the $5 ones. And I just knew that was going to be it for me. I was going to retire right there at 20 years old because I could
Yeah.
afford to buy an expensive scratch off ticket.
I always like the line, what'd you do with all your money? I drank, gambled, and got some hookers, and then I wasted the rest.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I was old if I would have been a 1 year older, Troy, yeah, I was only old enough to gamble.
Funny. All right, Jim, when did you know? What time was it?
Well, I think it's when I when I knew I wasn't cut out for white collar, and that was my first day of college when I had a humanities class at 8:30 in the morning, and at about 9:15 I got up and walked out of the class and said I'm done, and literally went out and got in my car and I left college
That
and
was
went
it?
down
Oh
and
my
joined the
gosh.
military. Yeah,
Humanities class. I
yeah.
don't even know what that is.
It was terrible. I couldn't. Oh, the guy. He sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. I could see his lips moving, and I heard stuff coming out, but I didn't understand a word he was saying. Yeah, and I literally went outside, got in my car, drove down, and joined the military because I knew college wasn't for me.
So I'll preface this. Very similar. It made me think of mine. I wasn't really sure because it's something in me. I think I've always wanted to be, and even though I never really was, I've been in blue collar businesses, but never as like a technician, I guess. Right. So,
Right.
But I've always been because I hung out with my dad, and he was very, very handy, and he could fix anything. And I'm kind of like that. There's not that much that intimidates me. I'll try it. Sometimes I'll have to do it 2 or 3 times, but I'll always try it. But I remember when I was in school, my first year in school, I was really good at college, right? So I was very good at hanging out and drinking and partying and chasing girls and all that stuff. Really good at it. So good at it that I got a letter, an invitation to come down and meet with the dean of students and
They were going to congratulate you.
congratulate me on getting kicked out of school. So, and he said, yeah, he goes, you have 2 choices. Either if you don't pick up your grades, we're just not going to let you go here anymore. But I'm a very determined guy. I wasn't going to not go. Okay. So I needed the beating over my head just to, all right, I'm going to see this through. But he did a personality profile. This was back in the day. So same kind of thing. What are you going to be when you grow up type of test, right? Sat in a room and answered 1,000 questions, 12 questions, 10 different ways. And I remember getting it back, and it literally said that what I would be best at, better than probably anybody else, is a school bus driver. That's after all that. That's what he said I'd be really probably the best at. I said, well, I don't want to be a school bus driver. I think that. So he said, well, then you better get back to class. I swear to God, you can see it. I see the signs now. They keep raising the rates for school bus drivers.
You're the bus driver. That's why he could see.
I think I still could be a really, really good school bus. Come on in, kids. Once You can't smoke on school buses anymore.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. What about you, Marissa? When did you know? Was it the day I hired you?
Yeah, well, no. So yeah, actually, I did really enjoy it. Like after I started, but I think I kind of knew just in general. I just love everyone that are in the group. They're in like the unions over here, like just their personalities and getting to know them. Like I just made really good connections and relationships. And they're just more exciting and like fun and like funny than if you have a conversation with sometimes it's like your ordinary, white collar in comparison. Like you're just gonna have a way better time, I think. And I just love it. So yeah, maybe like
Or-
18,
uh,
19.
The better part of years is what you're saying?
No, not even just partier. That's funny. You're just like automatically probably
More
funny.
normal.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Sense of
Down
All
to
right.
humor.
earth. Relatable.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is good stuff. And this is good. So we have a lot more questions. We'll come back. We'll have kind of questions and we'll have some fun with questions and some hot topics here every week. And next week we have a very special guest coming and he's got a great story. I wouldn't say rags to riches, but man, this guy came in. He really made something out of himself and I couldn't be more proud of him. And I'm super, super happy that he's going to be our first guest and I'm thrilled that he's coming. Thanks for tuning in to the Blue Collar Trade Show, everyone. If you enjoyed today's episodes, please share it with someone you'd think would get value from it. If you'd like to start a career, train up, or grow your business, visit us at thebluecollarrecruiter.com. Until next time, be kind to people, be great at what you do, and have fun doing it. It's cheaper than therapy.